judging. But still, we saw some interesting panels with basketball royalty. There's no other way to describe it, I'd say. But in the meantime, what we did get is basically a rematch. And it doesn't happen that often that you get to see a rematch. The same spot, like, Euroleague semis last year, great. But this time around, it's a bit different. And you know what? Some guys might be back with vengeance. Meaning, last year, we had Lorenzo Brown, Wade Baldwin, and Bonzi Colson facing Panathinaikos in the best-of-5 series. Now, Lorenzo is on the Panathinaikos side with other Maccabi players, former Maccabi players that, and Bonzi and Wade was having some of a trash talk, all good and well, with Kendrick Nunn. Now they're facing each other head-to-head for the EuroLeague, for the spot, at the court, a chance, a shot at the court.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And so we are going to break down this game first. We also have a couple of questions, though. So we'll do the questions in between games. And so we'll talk about Panathinaikos Fenerbahce. You mentioned the guys who are back, who have points to prove against each other, former teammates, obviously had those rivalries. I'm looking at this, and there's the obvious thing for Fenerbahce notion of they didn't have their best day last year. That's surely hanging in their minds.
And this is something actually Coach Char said at the event earlier today, that I hope that we arrive early to the game this time, that we won't be late for the game. I think it was word for word. In the meantime, just before we begin, yes, sorry, of course we love you.
Well, that was one of our two questions, but okay.
Yeah, well, actually four. I think you got another one.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so but like for you, like the payback, it's definitely in the minds of Fenerbahce.
And again, I think there's so much more to it because I know Wade Baldwin didn't play for Fener last year. However, there's a lot at stake here. There's legacy, and we are talking. I mean, Wade Baldwin is arguably the most complete package, I'd say, for a guard in the EuroLeague.
Well, what I would say is more relevant to this event, because I think you are right by the way with that, is he's probably the best player here who has logged a lot of years in EuroLeague without making it to a Final Four previously. This is his sixth season in EuroLeague, if I'm correct, and this is his first Final Four. So obviously there's a couple of guys who are mostly in the NBA. That's different because they, come back over or whatever, But like Wade's pro career has been built on this continent, in this competition, and this is his first time at the final weekend of the show.
It is. It is his first Final Four. Obviously, you might get the gifts for the dinners, but not him. He's like, we're getting a Final Four filled with bona fide killers, whether it's on the bench, like his coaches, on the sideline, or whether it's players. But with him, he's different. Just as Kendrick Nunn is different.
Yeah.
And, we can turn every stone in terms of like looking for angles, and there are many for this particular matchup, like these two.
Kendrick Nunn's I want to ask you about. Yeah. So Kendrick Nunn didn't have a great series against Efes. That's very clear. Does that make him more dangerous at this Final Four or more vulnerable?
I'm going for him. That's my mark. Like if I'm, obviously. There are two schools for it, maybe even more, but to me, the way I see it anyways, in my humble opinion, there's the one who would say, kill the crew that's assisting, the assisting crew. Okay, but Pau are anything but assisting crew. They got a roster of like 19 players, and each and every one of them could be a starter on any other EuroLeague team.
Like Tibor Plyce is hardly seeing the court, and he's Tibor Plyce for
and he's the reason they made it to the Final Four last year. But that's what I don't get, for real. With him, with everyone. It's with so much talent, and talent is not scarce on the Panathinaikos roster.
No.
It feels like they are still somewhat dependent on Kendrick Nunn. Maybe not as much as they were last year, but still.
That's the thing. One of my big point for what Fener's big edge is here. So now they aren't common, and I said it to his face. I said to Nigel Hayes Davis, I was talking to him earlier. Nigel, one of the things that stands out to me with your team is that even if you're having an off night, and I know they're rare, Fener can still find a way to win because they have that ability to adjust to who's hot and who's got it.
Who's hot and who's not? We're really playing this game.
Well, no, Fener can adjust to it and realize it quicker. Whereas I think Panathinaikos takes them much longer to adjust to that.
Of course. But here's the thing. Something happened with Fener more often than not this season, and I said this might be their edge coming to this game. They kept finding ways this year, meaning they lost Scotty Wilbekin, they lost Wade Baldwin twice. they had some roster changes during the year, and still they managed to. If I were to tell you that this team went through what they went through, what they did through this year, and still they were one game away from finishing as the top seed,
And they were the most consistent side in Euroleague for me.
Maybe it's because of the curse that's not really existing. Who knows? Maybe it really does exist. Who knows? Point being is, Fener kept finding ways. And the only thing I'm worried about is, should they actually go away, which is a scary thought at that, if Charles was thrown into a jacuzzi? What on earth will happen this time? But this is a question for the final show. If they make it there.
So we're going to hold off on the picks until, by the way, the end of this. So we'll be going all the way through Oli, Monaco before we get here. I suppose, front court, I want to ask you about Moshe. Because there's always been the injury issues for Panathinaikos, Lasor being the biggest one. Omar Yurtseven has taken a bigger role. Shedi Oz has to play bigger, so has Juancho Hernandez to play bigger. I look at Fener and I just feel they are more safe in knowing what they need, what they can do at front court. Whereas in Panathinaikos has been more patching it up as they go.
First of all, how are the reigning champs? Let's not forget that.
Of course.
Which means it comes, everyone wants a piece of champ, but at the same time, they are the champs. You better show them the respect. You cannot come to this game and think, I can maybe cut corners. No, there's no cutting corners. You come to play, you come for a fight, you come ready, and you deliver your blows. And that's I think, what's going to separate the teams. Aside of all the cliches of small details, of execution, and whatnot.
I am mindful we want to get the show to a certain length, so we are going to go to our questions now. We have one from Lewis, which I think is the perfect question to ask at the midpoint of this show.
Okay, is it a PG-13?
It's PG-13, although we did phrase it non-PG-13, which is the harder semi in your to pick. So without saying what your picks are, what's the harder semi to pick?
I'd say the first one, not because I'm disrespecting Monaco or Olympiacos.
No,
it's not. I'm not trying to disrespect because everyone's let's be honest, Olympiacos finished as the top seed.
Yeah.
So they are supposed to be considered as the guys to be that Final Four. They have the track record. They got everything. But if we'll have the time, I would love to get into the X's just a bit. But I know
we are mindful of time.
I know. I'm getting it. I get it. But when you're talking about like the harder pick for me is for sure the first game.
I agree entirely, to be honest.
First, it's the first game, so there's like the level of excitement that follows.
It tends to be the nervier of the semi-finals.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's just like whenever coach calls you or there's like this group test or whatnot, you're the first one who raises his hand and says, I volunteered to be first. First of all, good for you. That's a ball.
Yeah.
But still, I'm saying, the reason I'm saying it's the harder one to pick, it's the matchup, it's everything that comes along with it. It's the, I keep thinking, for example, what happens if winning, because you look, the entire five position, it's first year, it's like Euroleague books basically. And then there's another person. Can Matthias Lasort really give something? If it's up to him, of course.
It's just Willis Reed, basically.
I mean, look. Is he in shape? Maybe. Is he in game shape? And is he in finals game shape? You know what I mean? Like if they get
That's what I'm saying. This is like, I was like pointing at you. Some of you will get that reference.
Yes.
And so we are going to hold the second question because it is actually deliberately linked to our picks. Ours is saying who we're going to jinx, which may as well be saying who we're going to pick. So we will jinx. Well, the answer, of course, is we will jinx whoever we pick to win.
We jinx whoever pays us the most in flapjacks.
Flapjacks.
That's the currency of the show.
The currency of the show is flapjacks. So, Moshe, we're moving on to Olympiacos versus Monaco. Fourth straight Final Four for Olympiacos.
I say damn.
But of course, they haven't won in either of those three previous appearances. Their last win, the first ever season for Bartzakis as head coach of Olympiacos, 2013 in London, my first ever Final Four, in fact, as a fan, obviously not a journalist. So there's a desperation to the hunger of Oli fans.
Oh yes, big time. Big time. And the level of pressure is immense. Because if you really look at the roster of 18 Euroleague teams, it's like we said in the first episode of the season, I reckon that...
Aaron said Olympiacos decided they were going to win Euroleague this year.
It's anything but a finals that includes both Greek teams would be be a failure. Not like the game itself. I'm saying for both teams.
For both teams, yeah.
Anything but the finals game for the very least. Is there any chance the Reds, as the team that made it like for the last 4 Final Fours? And listen, let's be honest. When Sergio Yui takes that shot, like you can do nothing against it. And okay, you might mess up a defensive assignment against Vasiljevic.
My of course argument is that Olympiacos should have been ahead by more than that. Probably. You know. But so the pressure is on them, but they have so much talent, don't they?
With all due respect to the town, we saw them against Monaco.
Yeah.
2 Final Fours ago, I think it was in Kaunas. And if it weren't for Kostas Papanikolaou in a heroic performance, like to the level of like he was freaking Superman. And if you're a DC fan, he was Iron Man or the Hulk or whoever you want. If you're a Marvel fan,
yeah.
He was the man to bring back Olympiacos from the dead. And I am saying this reference if you're an Olympiacos fan, a Kill Bill fan, and a WWE fan, which we always said that whenever Vasilis Panoulis plays, in pieces.
So let's talk about Spinoulis team Monaco, because
oh my God.
I was talking to Mike James when they had their availability, or more actually I was amongst a bunch of journalists who listened to Mike James, and he made a very accurate, but in fairness, also fair from our side point. They are the team that's least discussed of the 4. Obviously, Monaco's relatively new as a squad. I know the club's very old, but the team is new.
It's not rightfully so, that's the thing. He's right about it. Maybe they are the less discussed.
But they are from the smallest media market of them as a whole.
No, I get it, but why we shouldn't overlook them?
Oh, of course.
Because Daniel Tice, that's number 1.
Yeah.
Daniel is reason number 2. Tice is reason number 3.
So you like you some Daniel Tice?
Yes.
I love Tice. Like I said to you before, my favorite, international, tandem at the bigs is Tice Whiteman. Like there are arguably better ones, but my favorite is Tice Whiteman. So there's 2 big meaty men out to slap some meat.
That is just lovely.
Like because it's kind of funny because like you have a great tandem in the front court, of course, for Olympiacos. Mustafa Fall and Milutinov. I would love to see either of those as a tandem with Tice any day of the week. Either would gel very well with as a tandem as well.
Let's be honest about it. Okay, I'll drop the bomb right here. Daniel Tice could prove to be, wherever the season ends, for Monaco as a season-changing addition. I mean, they got the talent in the backcourt, okay, but he's the type of guy that, like, the way that he acclimated himself to European competition.
It was so natural, so quick.
And that is actually hard.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard.
It's very hard to reacclimate. Like most guys, one of the reasons they come here for the whole season is because they want to have the time to get used to it. Like famously, when Milos Teodosic left the Clippers, he didn't play for any European team that season, even though he could have, because he wanted to have a couple of international games to reacclimate to the style.
Can we pull off the Shawshank Redemption reference to say you needed to get
institutionalized? Yeah, it is. It's a different type of basketball. So I want to ask you though about Spinoulis, because we're talking about bigs, and
don't scare me.
Okay, hold on. We're talking about bigs and Spinoulis here for a second. So the Papagiannis decision last time was huge in Game 5. Made a big difference. Like he's proven he's willing to gamble.
Yeah.
Like that's what to me is that he's a proven as a coach willing to gamble. And it's like our colleague Mr. Marzagia is waiting for us to go to the bar, but we've about 5 minutes left in the show. Well, actually, I think it's more like 3.
4 7. No,
3 4 minutes. So
get through all the action.
So for me, like you've got the gambler.
This is something that's not like it's not new, but.
I saw one of his Peristeri coach as well. I covered a lot of their games the previous year. He's willing to bet on his picks and on his decisions.
What I like here is there's still that constant fear that lives within you, and keeps resurfacing whenever you see him or Charis. That one of those killers would somehow find their way to step on the court and hit that shot or that winning assist. And whenever you see that happening, I'm saying you run for cover, and you run fast and you run hard.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you the most open-ended question before we get to our picks.
Yeah.
No, before we get to the picks. So, still focusing on Olympiacos versus Monaco. Pick one thing we haven't discussed yet that you think is going to matter a lot.
this is I'd say the most complete team. They're perfect in the way they're assembled, the way they're built. Now, I'm not talking about health situation on either.
You're talking about stylistically.
I'm talking if you're a GM and you're building a team and you got like a roster to low end, I challenge you to find a crack in the armor in terms of how this team is built, in terms of the clash of styles. And like they can answer any type of style or any type of challenge they throw at you. Backward wise, they are more than capable of delivering 40 minutes of amazing basketball, and then on top of that, you got a Sasha Vestergaard, and on top of that, you got a Kostas Papanikolaou. And wait, if that's not enough, you got Alec Peters. So I'm like,
there's lots to like. So we're getting to picks time. So we're going back to game 1 tomorrow. It's Panathinaikos and Fenerbahce. We'll go with you to pick first in this game, and I'll pick first in the next game, okay? So who are you picking between Pau and Fener?
Man, I'm a sucker for romance. But Pau are the favorites here. I cannot overlook it.
So you're picking Panathinaikos?
I'm just saying they are the favorites.
Okay.
I'm going with a surprise here. Even though there's like 5% chance of it happening, I'm going Fener.
Well, here's the thing. I'm also going Fener, but I'm a lot more confident in my decision than Moshe seems to be.
Which means that Fener are going to lose. Sorry, Fener.
Because I just really feel there's so much gelling in the best way of this Fener side.
They kept finding ways. Sorry, that's the thing. They kept finding ways.
And again, like, I think they're more immune to their best guy being off than any other team in the Final Four. And so that to me, I think they're winning this game. Like Sunday, whoever they face is another discussion. So the Sunday pick, for me, the second game pick for me, not a surprise, given the way we've been talking, I am going Olympiacos.
So wait, in one sentence, if we had to sum up the first semi, is Fener kept finding ways throughout the season.
Yeah, and I think they'll be finding a way in this one.
Could be.
Yeah. So Fener for me, Olympiacos for me, Fener for you, and
Olympiacos for you. Ours because you challenged us to Jinx live. We're picking for you. So you're saying that Panathinaikos.
No, it's like, but like, Aris is basically saying all of Istanbul and Paris is now going to hate us.
Listen, we have a proven record of jinxing Zvezda and Žalgiris fans, you remember? So
I will point out, when it comes to international basketball, I'm very good at making the bold call. I called Germany to beat the US that time. No one else was doing that.
Listen, 1 and 100 doesn't make up for the 100 jinxes.
All I'm saying is,
it is what it is.
And I called Canada to win bronze as well, which is right too. So we're going to wrap it up here.
And say, because we love you guys and we appreciate you being with us throughout, like in thick and thin. It's like it's marriage, right? It's like it's marriage.
We're going to find some refreshments at Martha,
and we're going to tell you all about it tomorrow. Saturday, exactly. Where? We gotta give just a bit away, right? I'm not saying the names, but it has something to do with names. It's our version for 30 for 30.
It's the award show.
Exactly. So Saturday, don't forget, be with us, join us, because we promise tons of